Hi, I'm Brandon Creguer with Purple Cow Organics. We're here in Middleton, Maryland with Drew Haines, a multi-award-winning no-till dryland corn winner and also owner of Haines Ag. Thanks for having us, Drew.
Hey, good to see you, Brandon.
Can you tell me a little bit about how BIOACTIVE LiquiLife Plus has increased and sustained yields for you and your customers?
We're able to get more nutrients out of the soil. When the bugs go to work in the soil, it's bringing out more nutrients, releasing and unlocking things that are tied up. We're getting healthier plants, more robust foliage, less disease. Overall health is just so much better.
Have you seen benefits at critical growth stage by using LiquiLife Plus?
You don't see that lag, like say you're doing a herbicide application or something, and by having that on board, it's pushing through those stresses. Even during drought and things like that, we're able to push through, the crop keeps growing. It's kind of like a stress reliever for the plant.
When applying LiquiLife Plus in a foliar application, have you seen any rapid response in any way?
We are seeing rapid response, quicker green up, maybe the plant growing a little faster, things like that. You can almost tell to the line where you're putting it and where you're not, a darker green color. I think it's a very good product to put with a foliar application. And actually this year, I've done 8 foliar applications on my corn, and instead of putting high amounts, I went to a lower amount each application, and it seemed to do real well as far as keeping disease and stuff out of the corn.
As far as the crop resiliency, I know you mentioned that you're in a drought this year. How have you seen the benefits from that?
I have customers from here to South Carolina. We were all dry this year. It's a widespread kind of drought, and if you would ride down the road now, you could probably pick out where my corn is and where my customer's corn is. That corn's not near as fired up at the bottom. It's staying green longer, it went through the drought better. It's even eared up compared to, say, the corn that didn't have it on. The boys in North Carolina, even in the sandy soil, said they couldn't believe that their corn hung on as long as it has. Some of their neighbors were out bush hogging their corn off and they're sitting there with the ears on. So it really played a big role in pushing it through the drought.
What have you seen in your corn development and consistency? I know you grow multiple different hybrids on your farm here.
Last year we had the variety plot, and when we took the variety plot, it didn't matter what variety it was, whether it was 105 day, clear up to 120 day. Every year was filled to the tip. We don't have that tip back that you used to get. As dry as we were this year and as dry as we were last year, I really do think it does help with consistency on ears.
What benefits have you seen from incorporating LiquiLife Plus into a program such as yours with the limited till?
We're able to break down some of the organic matter that we're having on top by either spraying it on top of the ground or running it in furrow. It's helping to break loose some of the organic matter that we're getting tied up and not being able to incorporate even nutrients down in the soil that are tied up. I just think it's really helped out as far as a no-till situation where when you plant the seed, you're only just breaking that small crack open with a no-till coulter.
Right.
But we're able to get that down in and it's filtering out and bringing more nutrients into the plant.
What other crops besides corn have you used LiquiLife Plus on and seen any kind of result with?
Cotton, soybeans, wheat, green beans, and we actually had some put on some peanuts. Overall those, everybody that I've talked to since spring till now have said they can see a line where they've put it and where they haven't put it. So I think the response on almost every crop is the same. It's because we're either making the plant healthier or we're bringing nutrients that before they couldn't get to available to the plant.
That's fantastic. I know I have a lot of guys ask me what crop specifically should I put it on, and I said don't put everything into one category, put a little bit on everything and see what works best with your operation.
Yeah. So everything we've put it on, it's working.
From your perspective, what could somebody see as a benefit of putting it directly on legumes? I know we like it in furrow with a foliar application around blossom time. What have you guys seen in this area with that?
What we have it on as far as legumes is green beans, soybeans, and I've played with it a little bit on potatoes in my garden. The guys, they ran it in furrow on soybeans. It was putting your nitrogen nodes on the bottom way before the beans didn't have it on. The green beans that the guys are putting it on, they're just lush and full beans. The one boy said that the row lengths, they could pick a basket off of them last year, and this year they're getting a basket and a half. I mean, that's pretty remarkable to increase yield that much by only changing one thing.
Right.
So legumes, yeah, it works great on legumes.
That's something we've noticed kind of everywhere, stacking more pods, but filling those pods out as well. You've probably seen it numerous times where you have a soybean pod, but it doesn't actually fill out in the end game.
Yeah,
So.
or you might only have one bean in it, and it had 3 holes.
Right.
Yeah.
You had some customers last year that placed it on wheat and had some pretty phenomenal results, even in less than ideal rainfall conditions.
Yeah, so I actually had a guy last year who placed 4th in the nation with the wheat yield. He had 165 bushel. Again, this year, we went back and put it on his contest wheat again. He didn't have near the stand that he thought he was going to have for this year. Some of the other yields we were hearing were 90 to 100 bushel, and he was still able to get 133, so I think it's doing its job of boosting the yield.
Yeah, pretty significant difference for, was that with one application or multiple?
Yeah, that was one application.
Just one application, that big a difference in
Yeah.
yield.
Yeah.
When you first worked with LiquiLife Plus years ago, I know you said you almost see an immediate response on the wheat.
Actually, I'd put some in my own personal sprayer and took it to a neighbor and blew some on his wheat in the fall. We made strips, so we'd go out with the booms on, come back with it off, go out with it on. And like 3 weeks later, we went back to look at it, and you had dark green, light green, dark green, light green, right where you put it.
Consistently throughout the whole check strips.
Across the field, so it was kind of like, wow, you know, this stuff does really work. There was no other nutrients applied. It was, you know, the same nutrients across the entire field. The only difference was we put 2 gallons of the LiquiLife Plus with a little sugar, and that was the difference. So it definitely brought something out to turn it that dark green.
Definitely trying to liberate those minerals and get them into the plant at a rapid pace. So.
Yeah.
You've used LiquiLife Plus in crop residue management, especially you're a no-till farmer. What differences have you seen in that and breaking down that residue from the previous year?
So actually, my first experience with LiquiLife Plus was crop residue. We had taken the corn off, took soil samples, and then applied the 2 gallon to the acre, and came back in like February or March and took soil samples again. All our levels raised, for one, and then also the crop residue by February, March was completely brittle and broke down, where you could just go out there and just break it all apart. It wasn't still spongy or anything. It made it decompose so much faster. And I think that's why our levels in the soil went up, because those nutrients now were back into the soil. The cycling just goes so much faster by having that put on as a residue management tool.
Thanks, Drew, for having us here. As always, a pleasure, and I wish you and your customers success for the rest of the growing season this year.
Well, thank you, Brandon. Thanks for stopping in.